Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with a walkthrough of how to fight and defeat Savage Omega Planetus in Monster Hunter Wilds consistently with NPCs while using the heavy bowgun. Now for the most part, it's going to be a mixture of some offense and defense. The build I'm using is from Lordviettner. I hope I said that correctly. I will leave a link to his original video that goes over the full details of everything. I have a couple of changes compared to him. Um, so if you want to use his build, perfect. If you want to use mine, which is slightly different, mainly just on decorations, I believe, and maybe your charm, that will also work as well. But let's get right into the equipment info. So we're going to be mainly using the Sergio's Insurrection Cannon, heavy bowgun with the blade scale loading and evading reload. Basically, every time you do a quick dodge, you will reload a weapon, and then perfectly dodging through attacks will reload 3 bullets of the ammo type that you mainly have, which is just normal ammo type, so nothing crazy. We're going to be using the Wyvern Heart Ignition just to give us some extra damage. We're going to go for spread ammo magazine and just standard mode upgrade. Nothing too crazy. Our secondary weapon is really just up to you. I don't actually need it for this. Uh, but if you want to have something that's flame, that way you can deal with the Nursilla fight if you're still struggling with that. That's perfectly fine. Like I said, I don't need it. I have a way of consistently getting that done for the most part. It is very RNG dependent sometimes, but I'll go over that once we get to it. We're then going to be rocking 2 Guardian Fulgur Anjanath pieces, a beta helm and a beta chest piece. The reason why we're doing this is so we get the Anjanath's Will. Grants an additional stamina gauge. Now the reason why we're doing this is because it will feed into our maximum might, which is just 10% affinity while active. If you really don't want to have maximum might or don't really care for it, then you can use something else. That's perfectly fine. I like it. It's just a little bit more extra crit. We're then rocking 2 Gamma Raydao pieces, the arms and the legs. And then we're rocking a Gamma Ufduna legs, sorry, not legs, but Raydao waist. And the reason why we're doing that is for the uh, Lord Soul ability, which will allow us to tank 1 hit that would kill us and leave us at 1 HP. Now, if you have all of your food and stuff going, this will at least give you 4 life-saving hits, which I'll go over in just a moment. Then we're rocking a maximum defense charm, which gives us defense boost 5. You'd really be surprised how much this has saved my life consistently when doing this. So now we're going to go over some of the decorations. For the most part, we're just going to be rocking 2 critical and a precise in our bowgun. We're going to be rocking an evasion in the headpiece, another evasion in the chest, 2 protections which will give us divine protection, and then we have a 3rd divine protection all the way in the boots. Then we're going to rock 2 throttle, 1 tenderizer which will give us part breaker, and then last but not least, I highly recommend this. Even if you're not using this build and you have the option of throwing 1 adapt into your build, it might reduce your damage just a little bit, but it'll save you so much pain and suffering, because having just 1 adapt is going to give you the ability of not needing to use a cool drink or a hot drink in environments. Now, do note, in some areas this will still have it where you take damage. I believe in the oil well basin, if you stand on the fiery ground, you'll still take damage from that. But everything else will basically have it where you're not having to worry about the hot or cold. That way you keep your stamina at max. I'll try and see if I can show that in one of my loadouts. I think I have it in my dual blades. Yeah, I have it in the Omega dual blades that I made. I can't consistently clear it with that build just yet. If this one does well, I'll maybe do a walkthrough of the dual blades. But, so yeah, so with this, our overall skills is pretty much critical boost 5, ballistics 1, blade scale loading 1, evading reload 1, defense boost 5, latent power 4, agitator 3, maximum might 3, divine blessing 3, quick sheath 3, evade window 2, evade extender 2, weakness exploit 1, and then 1 adaptability. And then we're also basically getting the Lord Soul and the Guardian Protection. So overall, it's a solid build. It's consistent. It's helped me get what I need to actually be able to successfully beat Savage Omega. Not every single time. There are a few times where it's more or less user error. And right now, during the Halloween event, basically, if you want to take the pick a meal or the springy kunafa or whatever meal you want, go ahead. I highly recommend the dream spell tea time. I'm having such a hard time talking, basically because this will give us the insurance, like I said, that it basically gives you 3 feints that you can use to give yourself a bigger safety net, and then on your last life, that'll be a 4th guts that you can use to ensure that you can tank some damage, because the 4th and final phase is probably the hardest part, and just getting that to that point alone is no small feat. But we'll also get some medic meal, which is basically, I believe, one of the medicine perks, just one rank of that, more or less. I don't really care much about the break time meal, but more or less the top 2 parts are why we like it. So we'll take this. I'll just skip all that. And then we're going to jump right into the fight. And I'm going to try and, like I said, just walk you through the entire fight from start to finish. So before jumping in, make sure you're at spread ammo. And then I'm just going to have the palm motif in just for some extra damage when we need it. And then, like I said, we're just going to be using NPCs. So whenever you go to your quest settings, make sure it's only support hunters. And then we're going to just jump right into this. So I'll see you once we load in. Alright, so starting off, like I said, we don't need to worry about the hot peppers or anything. That way we can just jump right in. I always start the fight off with a palm motif. Then from here, I'm actually going to try and gain aggro by going for the face. Now the reason why we're doing this is so we can force Alessa to get the aggro. This is basically the best way that you can go about doing this fight to ensure that she actually takes aggro. Otherwise, she doesn't always like to do it. Whenever the mustard bomb comes out, you should have enough time to actually put your weapon away and then be able to dodge at the last second. Do note that the shield doesn't protect you from physical attacks, so just keep that in mind. So once you see that Alessa has gained aggro, it's now your time to go for maximum damage and focus on the legs. Now, since we're a blunt weapon, we're going to be focusing on the front 2 legs and the face mainly. Now, anytime we take some damage, or if we get healed up, that's fine. And don't forget every so often to use your palm motif and progress it. As you can see, it's good damage. And just like that, we're already going into Phase 2. Pretty consistent overall. You shouldn't have any troubles during Phase 1. Now, once we're in Phase 2, we're going to grab something that we're going to be using a couple times throughout the fight. So once you're up here, if you immediately look to the right, you'll find a Thunder Cyst. If you get targeted by the Mustard Bomb, just run the edge of the arena. Once again, we're now going to be targeting the face to try and get Alessa to go for aggro. Do note you can perfect guard the fire. If you don't feel comfortable doing that just yet, that's perfectly fine. I tend to try and go for perfect guards on a lot of things. Try and preserve your mega potions whenever you can. No, not quite underneath the icicle, sadly. But as we can see, Alessa doesn't have the aggro just yet. Like I said, when you get targeted by the Mustard Bomb, you should be able to sheath your weapon and start running to get maximum distance.
No, I've done it.
Now, once you see the giant laser beam come out, you just need to fire 2 of the thunder pods at them, and they will go down. Do note it will take more. Now, once you gain aggro, you're just going to be waiting and trying to dodge until Alessa gains aggro back. There's a couple times you might be able to deal some damage, like right now. But for the time being, you're basically just going to sheath your weapon and run around. Like I said, you're just waiting until Alessa takes aggro. Once she does, then you're good to go back for DPS. Like I said, anytime you can, use the palm motif. As you'll see, once we are in our damage phase, just focusing on the front legs is going to be key here. Mina and Kai should just focus on the back 2 legs. Do note you can attack the back 2 legs. It's just not as much optimal damage as if you were to target the front 2 legs or the face. Do note any part of the front 2 legs is fine. There's at least 3 points that you can cause part breaks. You have the bottom, you have the middle where the shielded part is, and then you have the connector point as well. As you'll see, we don't have enough to keep going. Sometimes the hitbox for the fire just doesn't work. I don't know why. But just keep up this process more or less until you get all the way to phase 3, as you'll see. Sadly, I messed up right there and got greedy for the DPS, which is fine. Don't forget to use the ice pillars whenever you can. This will give you some time to focus whatever leg you're on. Like I said, you can do the back 2 legs. But as you'll see, the damage output is slightly different. And sadly, as you can see, didn't get the block and ended up dying. That's fine. So during this time, what I like to do during any of my deaths is just simply restock up. That way you have more healing and stuff for when you go back. It's best to try and save your deaths until much later in the fight, but like I said, if not, that's okay. You have at least 3 deaths that you can take before you're at critical condition and you're needing to play as best as you can. Now, at some point during Phase 2, one of the NPCs will probably end up mounting Savage, which is fine. Now, during this phase, whenever he starts doing this weird spasming move where he jumps around a lot and then does fire attacks, just get as far away as you can. As you can see, he can hop around in like no time at all to get to you. And then you should have a free opening for one of his wounds. Trying to find if there's that top one that got made. If not, that's fine. Now, like always, we go back to targeting the face. As you'll see, even though we're dodging a lot, we're still maintaining our maximum might thanks to the Guardian Fulgur Anjanath. And then once we see that Alessa has taken the aggro, we will then go back to damage. That is the main key difference that I'd found for most of this, is just maintaining when you get aggro. It can be a little tricky, I'll state that, but once you do this enough times, it's fine. As you can see though, like I said, if you're right next to the back legs and you want to build up some damage on them, that's fine. Whenever it does the freeze attack is when you also want to be a little worried. But with good distancing, you should be okay. One of the hardest parts is also learning when to use your Wyvern Heart Ignition. Like I said, anytime that somebody else has aggro, go for it. Trying to line up this part break or not. There we go. Whenever you have the opportunity to break apart and get a temporary stagger on Omega, go for it, as it will eventually heal these wounds. There we go. That's phase 3. Now this one is probably the most important phase overall. So the one thing you're going to want to make sure you have is the Mog of Ages ready to go. And then when you get into phase 3, come to the back here and grab this Rock Burst. Just like always though, you want to make sure that you're just trying to get aggro and then have Alessa take it from you. You can use the little mini Savage Omegas to give yourself some of that blade scale loading. As you can see, I try and go for perfect guards a lot. I don't know why. It has resulted in some pretty poor deaths on my part. As you can see, there's also times where the HP penalty will hit you. It is a bit unfortunate. Just try and also be cautious whenever you're dodging. You don't want to spam it too much. Like I said, once you gain enmity, just do everything you can to just stay alive until Alessa or any of the other NPCs get aggro. Because once that happens, then, like I said, you just go back to doing DPS. There we go. Once she's got it, go back to just targeting the legs. There we go. So now once he starts doing this, summoning all of these little minis, you want to get positioned right next to a cactar for when the Nerscylla shows up. You'll want to activate a cactar, activate a Mog of Ages, then you're also going to want to grab a Marlboro and try and have them get a stun on the Nerscylla. Now for you, you're mainly going to want to go for the face, as you can see right here. Then once the second one is done, you're going to want to pull in another Marlboro and have them come over and stun the Nerscylla again. There we go. Like I said, you're going to just target the face. Now, if you happen to gain the enmity of the Nerscylla, that's not too bad. There we go, and as you can see, we have successfully defeated it. Not too bad. Now, I'm going to stress this a little bit, but once you get past this point and you're into Phase 4, that's when you want to play the most safe. So shortly after the giant Mega Blast, you should have a giant crumbling wall you can bring down. Another palm motif, and like I said, we're just going to go back to targeting the face till Alessa takes the aggro. Anytime a planet or mustard bomb is not targeting you is the perfect time to unleash a Wyvern Blast. Or a Wyvern Heart Ignition, my bad. Or during the Rocket Punch as well. Now do note, from here on out, it's going to be 3 bursts of fire instead of the standard 2. Now if you wait just a little bit before the ring of fire collapses around you when he fires any kind of missiles, is how you'll know whenever you can perfect guard. It is tricky, so do note that the timing is a bit difficult. From here, you don't need to worry about having the burst pods anymore, so you can just get rid of those. Just going to use the shield as much as we can. As you can see, since we have the enmity still, he's going to be targeting us a lot. There we go. At this point, Alessa should get aggro, since she broke the wound on the face. There we go. Then, like always, we're just going to go back to our main DPS of the front legs. Positioning is also very key during this fight. Like I said, if there's a time for a wound. There we go. And now we're into Phase 4 pretty consistently as well. From this point, I would just highly recommend staying on any of your healing items. Now, in the back corner here is another Thunder Cyst, so you can grab more Thunder Pods. As you can see, I'm still pretty bad at perfect guarding that attack. Now, if you happen to get targeted by the giant laser, what you can do is try and run directly at and to the side of Savage Omega to basically avoid it as best as you can. Now, especially during this phase is when you want to have Alessa having the aggro. It's very hard for her to actually keep the aggro, but once she gains it is when you want to just focus on one of the legs that you've mainly been focusing on to try and break it. This will give you a good DPS phase as well. As you can see, we're doing pretty good so far. Then, like I said, for the fire attack, you can perfect guard it. Whenever you have a wound, break it. This will give you some more damage and time to use a Wyvern Heart Ignition. There we go. Now, sometimes during this, you can use the giant boulders around the arena. Now, if you happen to see a wound on the back 2 legs, don't be afraid to get them whenever you need them. After a little bit of time, refocus the face. That way you can then have Alessa take it from you. Like I said, if you gain aggro, just start running for your life. Just sheath your weapon and run. This will be better in the long run for you. As you can see, there we go. She's now obtained aggro again. If you want to, you can also use another palm motif. And as you'll see, still having your weapon sheathed definitely helps out quite a lot. Because like I said, this is the final phase, and this is the most important. This is the one you want to make sure that you save all of your mistakes for, if you happen to make any. That way, you're pretty much all the way at the end. Now, since we've already broken a leg and we have good damage, we're then going to try and focus on the other leg. And since we also have that wound, as soon as we can, once he gets up, we'll break it. There we go. As you can see, it's pretty consistent once you get the hang of how to do things. And then as you'll see, now that we no longer have aggro, or since Alessa no longer has aggro, and having some divine protection there was very helpful. Like I said, don't be afraid to use the giant rocks. It'll give you some good DPS. There we go. Now we're going to be trying to focus on the face again, so Alessa will take aggro. We still have a wound that we can use on its right leg, which is always nice. But sadly, it's now enraged, so it's going to heal itself. Getting a dive bomb is not good. So if no one has aggro, it's best to just sheath your weapon until you have a phase to where you can do something about it. I grabbed the wrong rock. There we go. Like I said, okay, now that we have aggro, just start running and wait until Alessa gains aggro. If at any point you can grab there we go. If you come over here, you can grab this fragment. There we go. There we go. Ooh, that was close. And we got saved thanks to Guts. As you can see though in the bottom left, Omega is pretty close to death. But now that we know that Alessa has aggro, just focus on those front two legs as much as you can. Sometimes it's also best to just sheath your weapon and run around. As you can see, overall it's not too terrible. Now that we see that he's attacking everybody equally, we know that Alessa has lost aggro. So once again, we're just going to go into that cycle of just going for damage, trying to attack the face. If you have a wound, break it. There is going to be some points in time where you're the only one alive. As you can see, having your weapon sheathed is definitely going to be helpful. Since we're just waiting on the others to come back, like I said, you get targeted by the mustard bomb, just sheath your weapon and just start running. Once he does this weird galloping phase, just kind of gain as much distance as you can. And then once he's on his last and third one, there should be a wound that you can pop. And there we go. Pretty safe, I'd say, with only one feint. Now, hopefully this does help you guys consistently get your Savage Omega kills. Feel free to use whatever weapons that you want. Use whatever builds that you want. But this is just what I found was most successful for me in terms of how to do this. So yeah, like I said, if this gets enough likes or comments or requests, I might try and do the dual blades build. That way you guys can see that in action, which I still haven't been able to successfully do. But as always, though, this has been Mr. Pilgrim, and I'll see you all in the next video.